Hello, hello. How's it going, everybody? Hope all is well. Whew. There we go. Sorry, I forgot to get my notes out. Hey, Allison. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Sorry I couldn't live stream yesterday. Whew. But I'm here today. I hope you guys had a good weekend. Mine was good too. I'm a little bit tired still from the weekend. yeah, I'm okay. Allison as well. Just slightly tired. That's part of why I didn't live stream yesterday, honestly. I was dead tired, and I think I fell asleep before I even would have live streamed. So, and then I worked today, and it was crazy busy. Oh yeah, I had 2 live streams last week, on the Wednesday and on the Thursday. So technically, at least I streamed twice. It was just one was on James Lott Jr.'s channel, and cheers to everyone who tuned into that one. Didn't get to go into the chat that much, but I saw some familiar faces there, so it was cool to see you guys. And it was cool talking to Albert again and meeting Kim as well. And of course, I love talking to James. He's just a lot of fun. Hey, Aaron. Allison, you said, did Sonny ever say he was going with Natalia? No! We gonna talk about that today, okay? Because today was ridiculous. Today's episode was ridiculous. Well, we'll touch on today's episode too, obviously. But yeah, this one's going to be this live stream's going to be not as structured as they usually are on Sundays. But, I kind of have things that I want to discuss from last week. And I've kind of just sort of mention these things. And then mention things from today as well. So you guys can kind of lead the path, and I think obviously Natalia is kind of on our minds due to today's episode. So we can talk about this because, all right, just to sum up what happened last week. Natalia, she decided to take up Sonny's offer, and give him the evidence and get ready to flee the country. But supposedly, she was under the impression that Sonny was going to give up on his life here, hey SLJ, and go with her to wherever he was going to send her. I forget where. Puerto Rico, probably. And I'm just trying to figure out how she got to that conclusion. Because I don't recall Sonny ever being like, I'm going to come with you. Like, maybe he said that he'd make sure that she was settled in, but, like, he didn't say that he was going with her. You know what I mean? And he'd say, I'm pretty sure she asked him, like, if she'll, if he'll stay in touch, or, like, let her know about Marco. Like, just things like that. That's what I kind of recall. Belize, thank you. Like, I mean, it would make more sense to me if she thought like he was gonna fly with her to Belize to like make sure she was okay. But she seemed to think like he was gonna move there and leave his life behind for her. And I'm like, what? He said he'd make sure she was settled in and supported. Yeah. Like, he never said that he was going. So that's where I was just kind of sitting there like, I don't get it. And today, okay, I guess we can talk about Friday as well. So Friday, when she found out that he wasn't going to be on the plane with her, she like had a full-on meltdown and decided that she was going to crash the christening of Michael and Sasha's daughter, to confront Sunny on it. And I'm like, and even today, Sunny, you know, like when she confronted him, Sunny's like, no, like I wasn't gonna go there. The plan was to get you settled in, and that to have a life that is comfortable for you. I never said I was leaving my entire family and friends behind to be with you there. Allison, you said, yeah, they were never romantically involved, so why would he do that? Yeah, exactly. Like, I can see why, if she'd think that he would go there to settle her in. I can see maybe that. But just, like, sending, like, I don't know, to react the way that she did, and on top of that, like, so like, today, after he confronted her, she just, like, evilly said, like, something to the effect of, like, I hope you and your family get everything you deserve, and what's coming to you, like, whatever. And, you know, from that, you would think that she would, like, just go and hand over the evidence, like, if she was smart enough to make a second copy or something, you know, and hand it over to the DA. But no, instead she just drinks herself into a stupor and takes a bunch of pills. And I don't know if the game plan was to kill herself, but it seems to be going that way, judging by the end of the episode. Like, she passed out, dropped her phone. As soon as she passed out, Marco replied to her bumbling text because she wasn't making any sense. She was incoherent. She was drunk texting him. And, you know, Lucas and Marco, they were having like a little bit of a dinner date at Lucas's house, well, Carly's house where he lives. And, like, you know, to be fair, I really love their scenes. They were so cute. But, yeah, Lucas convinced Marco to go and check in on her in the end. Aaron says, was that a threat, what Natalia said before she left Sunny? That's what it felt like to me. But I don't think that she really could do anything because obviously Sunny's guard brought her right back to her room. And unless her idea of revenge is just, like, killing herself. So, I don't know. Hey, Nathan. Allison, you said she probably OD'd. Yeah, most likely. So, yeah, Marco, like, Lucas had to convince Marco to, like, reply to his mom and go check in on her because he's like, well, she's supposed to be leaving the country. She shouldn't be drunk and, like, you know, reaching out to him. And to his end, he was like, you know, this could be the last time you get to say anything to her. Like, go and do it because she's supposed to be leaving the country and it doesn't make sense that she'd just be getting drunk somewhere. She couldn't do anything, empty threat. Yeah, that's true. Well, she felt like Sunny's a cool guy because Sunny didn't lie to her. He just said that, like, you're going to go to Belize and have a new life because, you know, like, well, he is a bit selfish because, like, you know, he just doesn't want to get caught with this, you know, his crimes. God forbid. And, you know, it isn't really fair for him to ask her of it, to be fair. Realistically, if I were Natalia, I wouldn't be that scared to, like, face my crime of, like, a DUI. Because, first of all, you know, like, no one got hurt. And I'm assuming no one got hurt the first time, whenever that happened. Second of all, like, 5 years of prison. Yeah, it sucks, but she could probably get out with good behavior. And I would argue that maybe she wouldn't even get the full 5-year sentence unless the DA kind of pulled strings as punishment to, like, instead of bringing Sunny down, you know, just doing your time. But then she could argue, like, a bias, whatever. I wouldn't do your favor, so you're giving me the top punishment for my crime of drinking and driving where I was pulled over in a parking lot. You know, like I don't know. It just seems I would just take the risk and like go to court for my thing. You know? Natalia isn't gonna go to prison for nobody. Are you crazy? Well, like, you know, I'm just saying. Like, if the choice was between never seeing any of my friends or family ever again, or paying for my little bit of crime in prison, she probably could have just been sentenced to that weird prison that, what's her face? Well, Alexis for a little bit, but Heather, like the prison that was like a spa day basically, where everyone went. That wasn't like a big criminal. Well, Heather kind of was, but she was, you know, faking being not as crazy. And Ryan was faking not as crazy. Just like a potato, basically. A vegetable. But yeah, like Natalia's bougie and whatever, but like 5 years versus like a lifetime. Yeah, halfway house. 5 years versus a lifetime of like never seeing your kids again, having to like not have anybody in your life from your past anymore for the sake of like a guy who barely tolerates you, was nice to you. Too nice in my opinion. Sonny was too nice to her. I never got why he was so nice to her. Nathan, you said, thank God ELR is out as Natalia. What a waste of a character. I would say, what a waste of an actress. Like, she could have played someone so much more likable. They could have made her so much more interesting. But she was just someone that just never learned to, like, grow as a human being. And just kept on making the same mistakes over and over. And, you know, living her life for, like, I don't know, just throwing her life away for a mobster who doesn't even like her back in that way. Like, I don't know. It was a waste of a good actress. Yeah, he was horrible. She was horrible to Christina in the beginning. Like, she did make up for it in terms of Christina towards, you know, the end of the situation, but like, I don't know. I think she was only nice to Christina because she knew she was losing her daughter, and because she liked Sunny enough to not be as mean to her. Kadeen, you said GH writers are stupid. Natalia could have faced the charges and let Sunny bribe a judge to give her a... Yeah, exactly. Hey, Angel. Yes, exactly, Kadeen. Like, there was so many other options. Like, you know, like she said, listen, I don't want to give the evidence. I'm your friend. But can you, like, bribe a judge? Can you, like, make sure I get a less sentence? Could you hire Diane for me? Like, there's so many options. And if she got the top 5 years or whatever, like, and she just couldn't bear to do it, then he can get her out. You know, like, wait till, like, there's nothing left before you make that choice. I don't know. It just seems so ridiculous to me. Because he's already got the evidence, right, in his hands. She could have just been like, I want to stay for my kid, to make a relationship with my son. Like, can you help me out in some other way? And I think Sunny would have, like, genuinely got her, like, a lawyer. Like, got her Diane and got her, like, probably would have bribed a judge, too. Sandy, you said Natalia and Lucky were both brought on and the writers were clueless with what to do with them. It is unfortunate. It is unfortunate. Like, it's just crazy. It's crazy. And again, a waste of a great actress because she was great. And I don't know, Sunny is just bad luck for women. Let's be real. They either die or they become so obsessed with him that they ruin their lives and then leave. I mean, I don't know. Really, Sunny should just at some point just be celibate. No more women. Just stop interacting with women. Focus on your family and your kids. And just leave women alone, you know? Natalia's a replacement Nina. They tried with a replacement Nina. And they're going back with replacement Brenda. Would you? I don't know if the. Okay, I'm assuming you mean the DA. I don't see her being like a replacement Brenda. But I do see her being like a replacement Claire Walsh. Or that other what was she? Was she also a DA? More recent one. There's a trail of DAs that kind of like end up not necessarily falling for Sunny, but like falling for his charms, whether it's, you know, building a friendship or building something more to it. And, you know, here we are again with that pattern for the DA, I'm thinking. He's been celibate since Nina. True. I mean, he was kind of like making out with Ava a little bit here and there. The FBI, Hannah Scott. The one that he seduced in 2008 from Young and the Restless. I'm pretty sure that's Claire Walsh, right? Oh wait, 2008? Claire Walsh was like 2009 or 10. Who are you talking about then? Because in 2008, Sunny was like with Claudia. And Reese. Yeah, Reese. Well, she was FBI, but yeah. Same idea. A law enforcement. His trail of like women in law enforcement that just fall for him. I don't know if they are just trying to recreate like Anna and Duke, but it never works with Sunny. I mean, I'd say Reese was like a carbon copy of Anna, just like an American version. She had the same kind of like hair as Anna did back in the day. She had the same sort of like fire in her like eyes and the sort of strong woman mentality and like characterization. Sandy says, Sonny gets all the women and poor Jason has been without a woman for over a year. His head is about to blow off. It almost seemed like they were going to put him with Sasha for a minute, but I mean, it doesn't seem to be the case. Was Duke the original Sonny? Was in... I mean, I don't think that Duke was necessarily the original Sonny. I mean, Duke was a mobster. And Anna was the law enforcement. But I don't know. I feel like Duke really tried to get away from the mob aspect. Like instantly, you know what I mean? Sonny just didn't care. He's like, I'm a mobster, this is what I want to do. But yeah. That's my thoughts on the Natalia stuff. Just craziness. I'm assuming she's dying tomorrow. Like, it's crazy. Allison, you said Britt will probably be back for Jason. That's true. Kelly Tebow is on her way back. We're going to see her in the next couple of weeks. Stay tuned for that. I'm actually excited for Kelly Tebow. I'm cringing at the ridiculousness that we're going to have to sit through to undo her death by poisonous hook and death by Huntington's disease that she'll be avoiding too. We were actually talking about that on the James Lott Jr.'s podcast, because just utilizing or just it's a slap in the face to tell a story of this very real disease that has no actual cure and just reversing it. You know, like it's a slap in the face for people that might be struggling with that, or someone that knows someone that's struggling with it. Katie, and you said Natalia talks a good game, but she doesn't have any game. If Natalia has such damaging evidence and she's obsessed with Sunny, then she could have blackmailed Sunny to marry her to avoid testifying. Yeah, you're right. Like I said, there are so many options she could have taken. So many. I don't think that, like, I think because of her sort of feelings for Sunny, she wouldn't have ever taken that route. But, like, I don't know. I just don't know. But there were options. Aaron says, so if she dies, will Marco help his father go after Sunny? Good point. I mean, Marco's definitely going to blame Sunny for the state that she's in. And he might even think that Sunny killed her and made it look like an accidental OD. I'm thinking the latter for that one, the second choice. Allison says, it is weird how they will cure her. Yeah, it's cruel. Yeah, it is cruel. Alright. But let's move on and kind of touch base on some of the other things that kind of went down last week. And we're not going to go full on recap here because, you know, we've moved on. It's another week. But we will kind of touch base on all like the big things that happened. One thing I want to talk about again, because even though we talked about it a bit on Wednesday, Tracy outmaneuvering Drew to get out of the charges. I thought it was smart. It was funny to watch. Martin is hell-bent on probably getting revenge on Tracy even more so now. That's the doggo. My lovely Toffee. My sweet baby girl. But yeah. So she outmaneuvers him with Cody's help. It was a lie. Cody did not leave ketamine in her car, but we knew that because we knew that Drew planted it there. We seen him with the thing he was going to plant in her car. Willow seen him with that as well. But just believed it was like a counteragent to his drugging. But she's a nurse, so she should know better. But anyway, what do I know? Yeah, so Martin's hell-bent on getting revenge. Drew, he now has, and they haven't really addressed this ever since, but he now knows that Curtis and Portia were planning to find Jacinda and pay her off to say that he took the ketamine on his own willingly. That was unfortunate, but also, Curtis and Portia were taking a risk by bribing someone and, letting a conversation go on within earshot of someone that likes Drew. Really wish they made Drew the smarter villain. I mean, he's still lasting, so he's been pretty smart. But unfortunately, I think the issue is that Willow is too dumb to notice it. So it's really working on her, not so much on him. But also, for me, it's one of those situations where, if a villain keeps getting away with things for too long, then it becomes stale. I am of the firm belief, and this can apply to even the villains that I love to death. Even to the villains that I love to death. I think, inherently, it is not good to have a villain that is, I don't want to say cartoonishly evil, but just, super bad. There's no good qualities. Super bad villains, they should not be sticking around indefinitely because we know that they'll never truly lose. And, realistically, if you're writing good heroes and good characters, you don't want the villains to win all the time. It sucks. It's annoying. Then you get situations like Peter August, where they're sticking around 4 years in, and everyone has to everyone has to look dumb to do it. And I don't want that to happen with the GH characters because, I mean, first of all of Port Charles, with the exception of Willow and Kai, I guess, hate the man. They know he's evil. For him to still be doing the evil things, it's like, it's like, come on. Like, you need to back off. And it sucks because I really love Cameron Matheson. I think that he's got a beautiful soul. He's a decent actor, you know. I think, you know, I just don't understand why they did all this with Drew, because of who we saw him as fundamentally, without giving an explanation as to how we got here. You know what I mean? Write the reason. We talked about this on the stream with James and Kim and and Albert too. It was just like, give a reason. Like, I know that we dealt with 3 different Regaim changes within the story that was going on, but they started it. They needed to get to where they were supposed to get. And now it's just like, nope, he's just this. And what's the reason for it? Don't know. Like, give the reason. That's all I'm saying. And like, give him an exit. If they're gonna like keep Drew on, or like they want to keep Drew this evil and not have an explanation to it that makes any sense, then like usher him out. Give us a break. Give us some new villains. Karen wanted to play a bad guy. That's fine. It's fine. But, like, make him a new character that is bad then. Because Drew technically was not bad. And for him to get this bad, with the life that he had, and losing his son the way that he did, and, losing his life in such a messed up way, and still finding healing in that, and then going off to, do something and getting kidnapped for it. But like, he still like came back and had the compassion and, fundamentally had a lot of similar things to the Drew that we once knew under Billy Miller, So it couldn't have been just that alone. Like there had to be some other things in there. Yeah, he needs a reason for his behavior. Yeah. Otherwise, it's shitty writing. We're just dealing with this guy who's suddenly evil for no explanation given. It's giving Nicholas Cassadine is what it's giving. Because they decided to make Nicholas a villain one day, out of nowhere. When he was kind of the anti-Cassadine. And yeah, he fell into depression when Emily died, for sure. And had a hard time moving on. He tried to date, wasn't working well. But like, it wouldn't have turned him evil. And like rigging mayor elections for what? Yeah, it makes me mad that they didn't like. And anytime that they've had the opportunity to kind of give an explanation to Nicholas being evil, it's like they just decided, no, like we're just gonna keep him like pretty bad and make him like kind of slimy. And I don't know. It makes me mad. I feel like they could have made him get on a better road with the last actor who played him, in my opinion. But, he's in jail anyway, so it is what it is. Nathan, you said, the problem is GH and soaps, sadly these days, don't know how to create good new villains, obviously. They always rely on current villains and ruin it. It's unfortunate. Like, I don't know. I'm the firm belief that villains should have arcs. And the arcs need to end and take a break. And if there is an opportunity to bring them back in the future in a couple of years, for sure, I'm down. Like, have them go to jail. Have them sit there for a while. Have them go out, seem normal. They were kind of doing that with Cyrus. But, like, I don't know. Like, Cyrus was a decent villain to me, in my opinion. It's just, like where it fell flat for him in the end was that they left us shrouded in the mystery of, is he really a born again Christian, or is he doing this as a disguise to do something more like sinister in the mob? And it turned into like he is a born again Christian who's misguided and thinking that he has a right to be an angel of death. Like that's where it fell flat. And it's like, well, no, if you had just like actually given us that he was a born again Christian from the start, and not giving these nuances of like shadiness towards Sonny and this and that and the other thing, then it would have made sense for it to get to here eventually, get to where it went. You know? But it's like the writers didn't know whether to actually make it a thing or not. And when they were like, well, we got these new villains we're interested in, they just kind of like threw him into this death plot and murdered him. Like, I don't know. Cyrus was good until he started killing people like Sam. Well, that's the thing, like, you know, they if it wasn't so shrouded in mystery, like, I could forgive him like killing characters like Sam and Britt and this. I mean, obviously, I don't know. Sam's such a slippery slope for me as a topic, because you guys know I was a diehard J-Sam fan back in the day. I loved Lucky and Sam, but you know, for me, it just felt like Kelly was just so bitter about GH letting Billy Miller go that you could tell that her heart wasn't in it, and she was doing it on purpose. And in the end, I'm not going to say that it cost her her job, but it certainly cost her getting less story and, you know, just getting to the point where they were giving her nothing. And I'm like, you know, they're paying you to do a job, and they're paying you to do it well, and it's clearly that you don't want to anymore. So, you know, there's all that with it too. You know, you reap what you sow. And here we are, probably almost a year later by now, waiting for Kelly's explanation still. All the threats she dangled with on Twitter and whatever else. And talking about a podcast where she's going to spill the tea. Nothing. All talk, no action. So, you know, Sam fan I am. Kelly fan, not so much anymore. Sarah's not dead. They're gonna call dead people at the WSB headquarters. I mean, maybe, but I don't know. He looked pretty dead to me. His eyes were open when he died. So, I don't know if you're right, but, you know, with the WSB, anything's possible. Allison says, yeah, so childish. Yeah, that's just the reality of it. And it's so unfortunate. Because I was such a diehard Sam fan. I was more of a Sam fan even than a Jason fan. Because, like, Kelly Monaco could have chemistry with a fish for, like, the longest time. Like, she could read the phone book and make it interesting. Like, her friendships on the show truly seemed like authentic friendships. And the relationships that she had, you could tell she gave her all into them for the longest time. With Jason, with Sonny, with Jax, with Lucky. Like, there was just, like, a lot. John McBain, too. And just, like, I don't know. I just don't know. It just... Oh. Yeah, even with Patrick. Yeah, I like the little family that they formed. Because to me... I mean, for many years before Robin was gone, like, Sam and Patrick had a good friendship going. They had a good, like, chemistry with each other as friends for, like, a long time. So, you know, like I said, she had chemistry with everyone. It's just... And she could... And, like, to be fair, like, that one time where they did, like, a flashback, or not a flashback, but like, a what if with Sonny... When Dante and Sam were together, they had chemistry then too. And then it just was not the same. Like, you know, once they put them together. Like, I didn't dislike Dante and Sam as much as some people did. Like, the real version. But, like, I could vibe with it. I wanted it. I just remember wanting it to be like when she broke up with Jason. Um, I wanted it to be her moment again, where she kind of found herself again, and found a relationship, even if it was with Dante, where she could really be herself and find herself again and figure out who she is and have like this character development that we seen the first time she got away from Jason. Because when Jason and Sam got back together in 2009, like, she really found her own as a person, and she didn't seem as codependent on Jason. So, you know, there was growth there, and there was an opportunity to grow her even more. But I think what happened there was Kelly's attitude got in the way of that, you know? I'm talking about when Dante and Sam were in Sunny's fantasy world. They had chemistry, even though Dante was a piece of shit in that one. Okay? Like, I thought that they could get along. They had their decent chemistry, and if Kelly was like not, if Kelly had her heart in it, she could have made it convincing. But she didn't. It was like watching like someone who was barely present in the scenes. So I think that's more of a Kelly being rebellious thing than a Sam, you know. It's who she made Sam in the end. Just kind of a lifeless character. Sandy. Yeah, you said Kelly couldn't get over how they treated Billy Miller. Yeah. And, like, I get that would hurt. I totally get her being hurt, especially if she cared about him so much. And then for him to, you know, unalive himself. That would hurt, too. But I wouldn't just be, like, I would be looking for work. You know? I would be weighing my options. And being like, you know what? Maybe I should get away from this place and see what it's like somewhere else. Like, it's just like, I don't know, her attitude. She would rather sit there and be miserable and just, like, phone it in and get her paycheck instead of, you know, finding a job where she could be happy. And now, what's she doing? Nothing. A podcast that never comes, an acting gig we've never seen. You know? It's unfortunate, but you reap what you sow. That's all I'm saying. Alright. We're getting off topic, though. Let's go back to whatever we were talking about before. I don't know how we even got there. We were talking about villains. Drew. Yeah. Yeah, we didn't really see anything of Drew after he found out, you know, what Kai learned. But, I mean, we did see that Willow agreed to marry him. And she decided to be honest with Michael about it. They argued. Fantastic scenes between Rory and Caitlin. Amazing. They did such a great job in those scenes. And it's, you know, it is what it is. Willow's going to be going for one hell of a fall eventually. I just hope it happens sooner. Because, like, my thing is, like, I need a Willow comeback, y'all. Like, I hate, because I loved Willow when she first came on. I loved her and Chase. I found her and Michael to be boring. Maybe that was a Chad thing. I don't know. I feel like Chad's Michael ruined, like, female characters and made them boring. Because even with Sasha, like, how great was she once she left Michael? She got to really flourish. She was falling apart, you know. She was doing drugs with Cyrus, and then she met Brando and had her growth. So yeah, and she had chemistry with Cody too until he decided to make them cousins. Like, man, I don't know. Austin, you said Drew already knew Portia had him drugged with Nina. Yeah. So, you know, there's that. And hopefully when Kai finds that out, like, he'll, like, think twice about really going for him. Because it means, like, he was just trying to throw Tracy under the bus for nothing. Knowing that he had the evidence. Expecting me to tell my boyfriend that's ridiculous. That's controlling Michael. It involves his kids. He doesn't want his kids with a psychopath. I think that's fair. I don't know. To me, what the part that makes the story more irritating is that Willow didn't just ask Wiley. Willow was with Wiley in the park. Ask him there. Why? Why didn't she? Like, just even for like clarification, even if she truly believed like Michael lied about that, why not go to the source? Why not go to the source? Well, he's saying Wiley said this, let me go over there and check with my kid. You know, like that, and everything else could have been avoided, and she could have found out the truth about Drew. Because I think that she would have believed Wiley. I truly do. I think she would have believed Wiley. That's her kid. She knows when her kid is genuinely sad and upset about something. You know? Oh, I don't want her to have a split personality. I do think she's in a bit of a psychotic break. Because I'm still convinced that Willow's the one that's messing with Sasha. I know that people want to say it's a red herring and whatnot, but like, I don't know. I mean, it could be Sidwell somehow going out of his way to, you know, torture all of the people connected to Corinthos, but I don't know. It would be fascinating for her to be having the psychotic break and going after Sasha and Daisy. Willow doesn't want to know the truth. Yeah, maybe that's why she's avoiding. Yeah, I mean, yeah, she definitely does have mental health issues. She does. And I think a lot of it just stems from all the other things that she's never addressed within her life that was kind of messed up. So, yeah, I hate split personality stuff. I do too. DIDs are literally... I wish I mentioned this in the live stream, because we talked about soap tropes, and DID is like my second least favorite soap trope. But we were mostly talking about Back from the Dead's, because we were all kind of in agreement on that. But yeah, DID is my second least favorite soap trope. It's never been anything less than cringe to me. The stuff that we've seen with Kate and Connie, cringe to me. It's so campy, so insane, so ridiculous. Judge is a liar. Make sure to get the judge. No, the judge told the truth. She just got paid to literally tell the truth. White Willow made all the worst mistakes with her kids. We saw it on screen, Kaiwan. There's no disputing that. You can be in a bit of a delusional world if you want to be, but the rest of the audience saw the truth. We saw her bringing her kids from house to house to house just to be with Drew, because she couldn't be with her boyfriend at the Quartermainge. She couldn't be by herself with her boyfriend at Nina's, so she just moved in with him over the house that is not coincidentally the cult house, that the Dawn of Day house. And she put him over over country lines, which is illegal. Everything the judge said was true. I think the judge probably would have gotten there without Sidwell's payment. Truthfully. And she was probably like, and I'll get paid to do it? Okay. Like, I would. I'd be like, wow, easy money. Thank you. But realistically, I wouldn't, because that's illegal. But I'm just saying, like, if I were a shitty person, I'd be like, well, yeah, give me the money for the thing that I was going to do already. She did. She had Wiley, like 8-year-old Wiley at the time, in another room by himself while she was having sex with her husband's uncle. That's bad mom behavior. Like, she carried him over straight, like, country lines. Like, you know, it was all, like, and didn't run it by Michael at all. That's the facts, bro. Cope with it. But yeah, I think potentially, at most, the judge would have given her a bit of custody. Not full custody for sure, but Michael, the affair, he had a one-night stand after he found out his wife cheated on him. Get that through your head, dude. They didn't have an affair. They had a one-night stand after hurting when he found out that his wife was cheating on him with his uncle. You keep forgetting that part, man. I don't know what to tell you. They need cameras. Who doesn't have a baby monitor on their infant? Yeah, I agree. This story is ridiculous because even before any of these strange things started happening to Sasha's kid, a baby would have a monitor. If there is a monitor in the damn toy room where Willow was running around like a farm animal with Drew on the floor, then surely there would be one in the damn, nursery where the baby is sleeping. like it's just it's so dumb. It is so dumb. Wiley was in the next room, hotel room. That's just facts. But the fact is, she did that illegally without Michael's permission. That's the fact that you overlook, man. I don't know. Like, what are you saying? You sound insane, dude. Insane. It's insane. You're forgetting all the illegal shit she pulled. Just bad mom, behavior. You're in a marriage. Act like it. Divorce before you have a little affair and take your son over state lines without running it by the father. Make an effort to put them in touch with your husband, your kid's father, when he's in the burn unit. That was all the Corinthos kids, having to do that for him so he could get to see them. That's insane. You're blind, dude. Absolutely blind. Brooklyn says, what if Sidwell planted the issue with Charlie's waiting for Christina? I do think that that's true, Brooklyn. For sure. For sure. He had a baby with Sasha. He didn't plan to. They got drunk and had sex, and that's it. That's not being a bad dad. It's being, stupid when having sex with someone else. But just because Willow didn't get pregnant doesn't make Michael a bad dad or Willow a better mom. Sidwell set up Christina, I think. I think so too. I think that Christina's manager, whoever that called in, I think she got paid to not show up so that Christina could be the one to come in and get trapped in that burning building. People, you can't take your child out of the county without consent from the other parent. Can you say Amber Alert? Exactly. I don't know, Kaiwan. Your common sense is not common sensing. Sidwell said, but yeah. I think that was totally a way for Sidwell to, or maybe, I don't know, maybe there's another big bad out there. I don't know. It's just, we've seen Sidwell with pictures of all of Sonny's kids. Why? He's got his eye on all of them. He's pulling strings to set up Sonny for a fall. We can see that part. But would he necessarily try and kill Christina? I don't know. I am convinced that Sidwell is bad. And he wants to do, bad. He wants Sonny out of Port Charles. But I don't know if he would necessarily kill Christina and go after Michael in ways that could kill them. But I mean, to be fair, I don't think Michael was necessarily the target at Sonny's place either. So that's hard. I don't know. Someone's trying to kill Sonny, but someone's also trying to kill his kids. You know what I mean? Like there's something, there's a disconnect there. Because like someone's trying to take him out. Sunny wants out to then turn the business over to Miss Wu. I would love Ms. Wu to be the mobster of Port Charles. I love her. I love her. She's so sassy and like, but like, kind of like intimidating and scary when she wants to be. Like I don't know. She's everything they're trying to make Sidwell to be. I mean, she's badass enough that she, with Holly's help, like drugged Victor Cassadine and made him, lose his ability to get it up. Like that is like a boss. That is a boss. I would thoroughly enjoy Ms. Wu taking over the reins and Sunny just retiring and doing whatever he wants to do. Completely. Allison says, yeah, Sunny was the target with Michael, but Christina was the target today. Yeah, that I agree with. Aaron, yeah, Michael would not have been at that bar with Sasha if Willow and Drew didn't sleep together first. Well, technically she didn't sleep with Drew yet. She was just having an emotional affair and making out with him everywhere at that point. It wasn't until like the day after, I think, that they had sex. But to be fair, she did cheat first. That's the only difference. But yeah, let's get... Okay, I want to... Because we're going to be running overtime here. Let me just kind of dish out the rest of the stuff with everyone else and my thoughts about it. Lulu bonding with Gio. They have cute chemistry together. Not, like, romantic. Just so you know. Just, like, I love that their little, like, friendship situation that went down this week when this drunk guy was, like, flirting with her at the pool, and Gio kind of went in for the save, and I guess a lot of funny stuff happened off screen. I wish we'd seen it all, but I get why we didn't. Really, it was just kind of the segue for Brooklyn to run into Lulu and Gio having a nice moment, and that sort of kind of egging her on to have her revenge, which was digging up the dirt on Rocco and how his birth came to be. And I'm assuming making sure that Rocco seen it, because she left it on the table knowing that he'd already seen what she was working on, and they discovered it. And we haven't seen Rocco since then. But yeah, it was her revenge to try and basically, a kid for a kid in terms of like the relationship. You ruined my relationship with, my kid, I'm going to ruin yours with something that he probably doesn't know, which is something that's like insane, yes, but like not life-changing. Like, yeah, you were born under like crazy circumstances where someone stole your parents' embryo and tried to pass it off as their own child, but you're still their child. But I think that Brooklyn is probably going to leave that part out. I don't know, I mean, who knows, maybe that's in the file too, but I would not doubt that she made sure it wasn't. Austin, you said I like the Lulu scenes with Gio. By the way, Danny and Rocco have their first job. They acted like teenagers who have never worked in their life would probably act. Pompous ones that are very privileged. And Gio had to, be their boss and not their friend and relative in that moment. Yeah. I don't know. They're learning, and it also got Jason and Dante to the point where they could have a discussion on I was wrong about your parenting skills. I can see that you're giving him space so that he can learn and grow and be on his own and make his own choices as he's this age. Dante's having to learn that with Gio. He tried to make an effort with Gio and invite him out to, I think, a game with Rocco and himself. But he also was like, just so you know, this is just like without sort of a thing in return. Like, you can have the tickets if you want to. I don't have to go with you. You can take anyone you want. Like, It's going to, I think Dante's doing what he can with the cards that he's been dealt, and the cards that he dealt himself because of his overreaction to Gio's role in what happened with Rocco, which Rocco is fine, and if there was anyone for him to be mad at, it would have been Danny, who brought him there in the first place, and then left him alone to get into the trouble that he got into. So, and also like his role in it, Dante was supposed to be with Rocco and Danny, and he decided to argue with Lulu instead. And he's stubborn and not admitting that. What else? Ooh! Kind of the last point here. Something that I've really wanted to get out. And I've made it the thumbnail for a reason. Portia! Listen. Portia, this week, decided to fight for her marriage. She did it in kind of like cringy ways at first, like splashing Jordan with a drink and all this, which was petty. And, Jordan does seem to have lingering feelings for Curtis, but Portia was, sort of jumping to the wrong conclusion of they decided to meet up and have a swim in the pool and spend time together, and it was just, no, Curtis was working. He went down to the pool. Jordan happened to be there. Like, and it's not the first time she's been there because, what's his name, Sidwell, has had meetings there with her. And, Symmetric Court, it's convenient for her. Lulu still wants Dante? Yeah, of course she does. But yeah, so what happened after that is Portia confronts Curtis. And she calls him out on his hypocrisy and his, like, overbearing, sort of controlling ways, or like, I don't know, what were her words? I should have written down more notes. She basically tells him, like, your standards are so high for someone that's such a hypocrite. And for me, I looked at these scenes and been like, it's about damn time someone called Curtis out on his bullshit, because Curtis is such a hypocrite. He holds these women to impossible standards. They're not allowed to make mistakes. They're not allowed to lie to him. He can lie to them if he thinks it's for their own good. But if they do it, God forbid, then the marriage is off and the trust is broken. And I'm like, I am so glad that she called him out. I'm so glad. I loved it. I did think it was petty of her to, text Jordan that Curtis wants to talk to her and have Jordan walk in on them, like, kissing, and her sort of, like, trying to seduce him into it. And I don't even blame Curtis for accusing her of, like, wanting to, or, doing this, manipulating this cry for help or whatever. I can't blame him for thinking that, because, she admitted, like, yeah, I wanted to kiss you in front of Jordan. But, like, everything she did say was true. She didn't want this lie, the lie that she told out of fear, to ruin their marriage. She had her reasons, but, part of a marriage is you're supposed to sort of fight to sort of try to work things out. And yeah, like, putting their family in this position was a low blow, but it's not a knockout punch. It's like they could recover from this. But it's like, it's I don't know. It's just irritating that he's just so like, oh, this is the end of our marriage. Bro, what? Like, hey, Autumn. But yeah, like, I was just like, this is not a deal breaker. You can see why she did it, Unfortunately, Portia made some bold moves to keep her daughter safe from a psychopath who literally spent a year going after her daughter and all the people that her daughter loves. You know? Killed a bunch of people to do it. And didn't believe that Heather was, actually not evil because of the poison, the metal poisoning that she got. Like, and the verdict truly is still out on that one, It's like Franco and the brain tumor. They said that the brain tumor was the reason for the things, but we seen him strap a dog collar onto a man and throw him in a cage and shock him with it after it was removed, and locking people in the fridge after it was removed, and killing his mom, supposedly, after the tumor was removed. Like, just like, it's just, Heather just ended up being a bit more of a convincing, sort of gray character. But the verdict is out on that one. And she's not here to show us one way or the other what she's being. What she truly is, sorry. Alston says, yeah, the Jordan setup was immature, but whatever, she's insecure. Yeah, she really is insecure, but I don't know. She wasn't fully wrong about Jordan either, But I think she, I don't know. I don't think that Curtis necessarily wanted Jordan back. I think that Jordan and Curtis have always seen each other as friends, and he does confide in her on certain things, and they are related in like the fact that they share TJ. So it's, I don't know. There is, there's connection there, and that's always going to be there, and it's kind of just like, I don't know. It's misguided. Curtis, I don't think he has feelings for Jordan. I think that he would probably jump back to her. But I think in this instance, like, it's just nice for him to have a companion. Whether Portia did too much. Yeah. But yeah, whether or not they would eventually go back to each other, I don't know. He wanted to give up on his marriage pretty easily. Realistically, Curtis needs to just learn how to hold women to a lesser, like, to such impossible standards. They're not allowed to make any mistakes under him. And that's just like, I don't know, that's just wrong to me. Never lie again. There are reasons to lie. Different reasons to lie. Yeah, like, the goal is to be truthful. Portia probably should have been honest way back when she tried to frame Heather, or to change her whatever levels to make it seem like she's not ready to be out of prison yet. She should have been honest about that she did that right away. But, the cards are where they are. Because that had to do with their daughter. And, I think Portia took action in a way that she thought was good, and she should have confided in him to be like, should I do this? There are mistakes. Angel said, remember Curtis made out with Jordan the last time him and Portia were on the outs. Yeah, that's true. But would he have done it a second time? I don't know. But we'll see. We'll see where this goes. But yeah, those are kind of all the points I made. I'm looking down my list of notes, and I think I kind of covered everything that I wanted to. Autumn, I think you mentioned Natalia earlier. We did talk about her first thing, because that was the first thing we all wanted to get off our chest, I think. Natalia was delusional, and it's so ridiculous that she was that delusional, and I think it was just a way to usher her out quickly. And it sucks, because what we said earlier in the chat was she had options. The girl had options. She could have gotten Sonny to get her a good lawyer, and if things didn't work out for her and she didn't get out of jail for beforehand, then he could take her on the run, But, you know, Sonny could have bribed a judge the same way Sid will bribed a judge as well. And I think that he would have, because he probably feels like he does owe her one for, you know, for going up to bat for Christina when she did, and for being there for him when he was going through his heart stuff. Like, I think that he would have done it. I think he would have done it. But yeah. And that's that on that. And alright, so we're going to wrap it up here. Because my allergies are starting to bother me a little bit. And it's getting late. So I will see you guys this Wednesday. If you like this live stream, give it a big old thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to. Have a good one. See you on Wednesday. Mwah.